Man, oh, so much shit is happening. First of all, I'm going live from the hotel as I usually do. Just, I'll briefly show you guys what my view looks like over there. It's fantastic. I love it here. Yeah, but the US has entered war with Iran, and things are not looking so good right now. Honestly, I will tell you. Um, Not only has the US entered war with Iran, but everybody's panicking. In the world right now, the US is at war with Iran. Not only that, but I was watching an interview with Andrew Tate and Bonnie Brooke. That's an entire mess. Uh, what else is happening in the world right now? There's just so much shit happening. But anyway, the first thing is who's here? Hey, they're trying to, hey, what's good? Hey, no, no, no. How could I forget you, man? We're a close-knit community right here. If you guys don't know, first of all, if you're watching the replay, number 4,000 subscriber, he just joining us. He was actually number 4,000. I know we're over that, but he was just number 4,000 and he just joined us again. So, boom, that's crazy. I mean, all right, I'm gonna take your screenshot. I got you. Boom. Could never forget, but drop a like for me, bro, so that we can get more people in here. I appreciate you tuning back in. And as you probably know right now, US and Iran are at war. And Israel is also in that war. So it's US and Israel versus Iran. Crazy. And here's some things I want to give to you, right? In recent history, because everyone is panicking, and I want to be a voice of reason so you can actually understand what's happening, right? But I'll just spiel for a couple of minutes. I gotta go, but it's good to hear from you. And yeah, the war is crazy. Okay, cool, no problem. Enjoy work. I'll see you, man. Tuning in another day so that we can. I'm not sure if you love your 9 to 5 or that's your dream, but tuning one day and let's talk about actually how we can replace your 9 to 5, bro. Because what I'm saying, if I can give back to you even on this live, then I appreciate doing that. Cool, cool. All right. So back to the war. What's actually happening with the war is actually pretty crazy. Thing is, in the last 25 years, think about this. The US has pretty much always been at war. When the US came out of Afghanistan last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, but I think it was last year, Biden pulled US out of Afghanistan. That was the last major pull out of the region so that the US didn't have troops over there. And Trump said, I think he actually said that that was a good thing. And that's one of the things that he wanted to do. So then, in the last 20 years, that was the only time that the US has not been in that region. Now the US is going back into the region. Obviously, no person is there yet, but they actually entered the war. Now, here's my point to you. You're seeing the news, and everybody is saying the world is ending, the world is ending, the world is ending, right? But in the last 20 years, the US has always been over there. It's not been World War III for the last 20 years. It's actually back to normal. We've always been at war over there. So then the US saying, the news, everybody, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, Fox, everybody's like, oh, this is war. This is, they will retaliate. And this is all sensationalism. All of this is trying to get you to sell you attention, to try to get you sell you news, try to get to sell you some type of product. So I'm coming on to be a voice of reason to show you that this is actually normal for the last 25 years. This right here, the US being at war, is normal for the last 25 years. Most of the last 25 years, we have been at war with somebody in the Middle East. Somebody. Afghanistan, Iran, at one point we're in Sudan. It's always been something. You have to understand this is not new. But the news will make it seem like this is now Armageddon and we have like 3 months left to live. So stock up on everything in the supermarket and pay all of your bills and find an underground bunker. It's just a bunch of nonsense. You understand what I'm saying? Let me take off my glasses so you guys can actually see my eyes. It's actually a bunch of nonsense. It's actually very bright. So I'm gonna put that back on. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. So then all of this talk of what's going on in the Middle East, it's it's just so repetitive. So I'm saying put some likes in the chat so we can actually get some more people and have this conversation going. Because I want to hear from you. Do you think that US should have entered this war? Because All the US did was they bombed three nuclear sites. No, civilians probably died, lots of casualties. This is war, right? People do die. However, that region has been unstable for the last 20 to 30 years. That's not new. It's not new. The only thing that's new is that it's the first time this year. That's the only thing that's new. That's the only thing that's new. The next thing is that people are scared that Iran is going to retaliate. Okay, let's look at it. Let's look at Iran retaliating. Are they going to do missiles? They cannot do missiles. The US has such a complex missile defense system that any missile that intercepts, that gets into US airspace, is going to be intercepted. So they cannot do missiles. Okay, then what can they do? Are they going to do a bomb? Are they going to do another 9/11? They cannot do that because our security is really top tier. We haven't had that kind of thing in the last 25 years. So they cannot do that. What can they do? Okay, so then let's say they get somebody into the country. Right now, we have one of the strictest border controls and most police is on the road anyway. So then to get somebody even into the country illegally is extremely hard. How can Iran do that right now? No, if somebody's already in the United States, okay, cool, fine. Let's say somebody's already in there. The US has spies, the US has intelligence teams, the US has police dogs everywhere. Like in New York City, Mayor Adams said they're going to put more police on the road. They already have those equipment to keep New York safe. In fact, New Yorkers make New York less safe than outside people from outside of New York. New York is already a dangerous place to live. So then, what can Iran actually do to retaliate? I think what they're thinking of is that they're going to do cyber attacks, they're going to do crypto attacks, or they might even do some type of transportation attack. Let's say they disrupt the economy, they stop the boats, or they stop trains from going. That's really their only moves. They have a finite number of moves that Iran can do. So then, if the US is focusing on these with an infinite budget in the army, how is Iran going to respond any more meaningfully than any other nation would? Only really Russia and China have the capability to stand up to the US. That's it. Only China and Russia. So then, if Iran doesn't have the capability, then it really does come down to, well, what kind of economic games are now we going to play? But yes, they are at war. They are at war. But I don't want us to lose the fact that it hasn't really changed much. Not much has changed because people, I think, are getting very sensational when it comes to this stuff. People are getting very, very, very sensational. I'll move you guys because I want to be over here. I want to sit down. I'm going to stay live for maybe 40 minutes today. We'll see. We'll see how this live goes. We'll see how this live goes. All right, tell me where you're watching from. If you're watching from Suriname, let me know because I love to hear people are actually local. I'm sitting here in Suriname in a hotel. This is my view right now. Boom. What a great day. Good dance. What a beautiful day. Put some love in the chat, like the chat. I am currently at a hotel. I'm answering questions about this war, talking about the war, and of course, covering some of the things that are happening around the world. People think that the US is in crisis. The US is not in crisis. You know what's in crisis? Uh, Men are in crisis. Men are dying. That's what's in crisis. There's a loneliness epidemic. Men are killing themselves. That's a crisis. The US has just returned back to normal. No country should be at war, but understand that for the last 30 years, the US has always been at war. So that is not a crisis. That is the norm. A crisis is something that happens out of the blue. This is not abnormal. The suicide rates being as high as they are for men, that is abnormal. There are also plenty of other wars happening across the world. Now, I think what makes this so grandiose in terms of its relevance in the news is because the US is the biggest army in the world. And so anything that the US does threaten everyone, all 8 billion people in the globe, because the US is the only army that can reach pretty much every single country in the world. The US has military bases in every probably every English speaking country or close by every English speaking country. US military bases are so that the US can attack you without you having even time to prepare. Some of the US military bases in the world are within other countries, which is wild. So I think that's what makes it scary. However, it's not abnormal for the US to be at war because it is the strongest, it has the most challenges, and it does get called to defend other countries, which is exactly what it's doing right now. It's defending Israel because they're allies, they're defending Israel. You may disagree with this, you may not, but if Iran were smart, it would have calculated that the US would have gotten involved in this war. And Iran cannot beat the US. It cannot. They will blast them to smithereens. Smithereens is a crazy word. Two bros said hi. How you doing? Tudor, yes, I do. How you doing, Tudor? What's happening, bro? Let me put my glasses on because my head is starting to hurt. The two bros. What's up, dude? Say hey. What's up, man? If you're coming in, drop some love in the chat. Leave a like so that we can get some more people in here. And also, tell me where you're watching from. Have you heard about the US and Iran being at war? Have you heard about the US and Iran being at war? I think that's crazy, but it's not abnormal. I'll give you two sides. What makes it crazy is that uh, Donald Trump is the president that said he would try to de-escalate the situation, pull everybody out, and not go to war. But what's crazy is that he's done exactly that. I think that's the first crazy part. But the other side of it, that's not abnormal, is that the US has always been at war. Romania. Oh my God, you're from Romania? Tell me about Romania. What's Romania like? And how do you feel about Andrew Tate being from Romania? I'm watching from Palestine. Wow, cool. So you're very close to the war. Let me ask you, what is life like, a daily life like in Palestine? Do you guys, what are the fear levels like? Because I'm thinking if I were that close to war zones or living in one, I'd probably walk around with a lot of fear. Do you walk around with a lot of fear? Does that happen to you? Okay, Texas. We'll come back to Texas. But tell me, the, Tudor, you're from Romania. How do you feel about Andrew Tate? And the person from Palestine, tell me how you feel about who's from Palestine? Julia, tell me how you feel about daily life. Do you walk around with a lot of fear? I'd love to know that from you. Tudor, answer your question, which is how do you feel about Andrew Tate being from Romania? How do Romanians feel about Andrew Tate? I find that very interesting. Also, if you're in here, it's free to like. So actually like, I'm not sure where the like button is, somewhere here. It's free to like, leave a like, don't just be in there silent. Actually help me out by leaving a like. It actually does go a long way to get more people in here. The algorithm, every time that you like, it pushes out to like 10 more people. So leave a like. I'm waiting on the answers from I don't have good internet. Oh, no, that's no problem. My question to you was how do Romanians feel about Andrew Tate? It's close to Jerusalem. And when we walk in a place not so close to Gaza and Tel Aviv, it's safe. Okay, so Tel Aviv, it's safe. Okay. So you don't feel in danger every day. Thank you, two bros. I appreciate you. You're a legend for that. Appreciate you, dude. You're about to meet some very interesting conversation between me and Tudor and Roblox because I'm about to find out what's happening in Romania and in Palestine. So I'm close to Jerusalem, and when we walk in a place not so close to Gaza and Tel Aviv, it's safe. So it's safe in Tel Aviv. Okay, cool. So let me ask you another question. Um, what does the region do to prepare if there are okay, because you're not close to the war. So you're saying you're not close to the war, so you don't live in danger. But is there a sense of you have to prepare for war? because I'm guessing, are there like bunkers around? Are there, I don't know, like I'm just guessing, what would the area be like if you guys have to prepare? Because it's not like you're not close enough that missiles cannot reach you. They can't. I'm in Suriname. You can see my skies here are very blue. There's no war here. But my question to you, Tudor, was how do people feel about Andrew Tate in Romania? I want to hear from somebody in Romania. And since you're here, how do people feel about Andrew Tate in Romania? Since those two entities are very tied together now. Very interesting having you two on, by the way. Somebody from Palestine and somebody from Romania in the same live. You don't know how people feel about how Romanians feel about Andrew Tate? Would you mind explaining? Don't just leave us on I don't know. I think you can do better than that. I mean, those, you know the rules of engagement, right? Don't just leave it on I don't know. Actually give me something that I can respond to. I am in Suriname. I am in Suriname. In my city, Jesus walked here and made someone come from the dead. Okay, cool. Fedor. Yeah, don't just leave it on I don't know. Annie Tate. No. Andrew Tate, the somewhat controversial man who is viral on social media. His name is Andrew Tate, and Tristan Tate is his brother. How do Romanians feel about Andrew Tate? I would imagine that being in Palestine, if I were in Palestine, okay, let me ask you another question. What are the airports like in Palestine? Is there extra security? Are people flying in and out as normal? You know, like, okay, let me ask you another question on top of that, and maybe you can answer both of them. In the schools, do you guys have, so like we in Jamaica, we have earthquake drills and we have fire drills, but we don't have school shooting drills. In the US, they have school shooting drills and fire drills, but they don't really have earthquake drills unless you're in California. For you, do you have bomb drills or missile drills? Is that something that happens in school? You don't have airport in Palestine. I didn't know that. God damn, I'm learning so much. So, so how do you get out from Palestine? You don't have drills. Okay. Romanians don't really like Andrew Tate. Why? You got to give us a bit more, dude. You're giving us very short sentences too. You got to give us a bit more when you're talking. Like, this is the rules of going live. One word sentences don't really work. You have to expound. You have to say your entire point, right? Valentino. I love that name. I know who you are, but I like the name. Valentino. Love the name. Valentino. There's a there's a song by Daniel Ciso called Valentino. It's a very nice song. He's taking drugs. Okay, well, I can tell that you don't know much about Andrew Tate if that is your only comment about him. So I guess I guess this conversation is not very productive. Valentina, thank you for asking. I'm doing fine. How are you? I'm something between Palestine and Jordan, and it's really bad. I know only that he's rich. Okay, well, at least you're honest. Thank you for being honest. I know only that he is rich. That is good. It is fine not to know who he is, by the way. It is not fine to pretend. I don't think pretending is is very productive. I don't think pretending anything in life is useful. Person, it's very close. I don't really know. I know only that he's rich. From something between Palestine and Jordan, and it's really bad. I'm not sure what that comment is about. Are you talking about the airport? I don't understand what you mean. Are you talking about the airport between Palestine and Jordan? Is that what you're talking about? It's so crazy that I think about, people know these countries mainly because they're in the news all the time, for something, unfortunately, usually negative, right? Um, on the other hand, right, most of the world knows where Jamaica is generally, or they know something about Jamaica. They know about the music, they know about the food, they know about the culture, but it's usually something positive. I think that's why Jamaicans are so proud to be Jamaican because most places in the world we know about Jamaica for something. It's positive and it makes people smile. If you say you're from Syria or you're from the US, even, not always a good thing to be from these countries, but or even Australia or whatever. It's always a great thing to be from Jamaica. Always. Goodbye, Chidor. Take care. And thank you for leaving the likes, bro. Yeah, there's like transport just by car from Palestine to Jordan. It's hard. Okay. Oh, so you gotta go from Palestine to Jordan, and then you take the airplane out of from Jordan. That's how you get out of the country. That's what you're saying. I feel you. That's very cool. It's very cool. Well, not cool. That's very interesting to know. I've learned something today. You have taught me something. So thank you for it. It is not often that I get to learn things on these lives. So thank you for the opportunity to learn. I'm thinking of more questions to ask you since you are here. So, well, look at that bird. So in Palestine, does Palestine have have a culture of trying to leave? Okay, so for example, what happens to a lot of people in Mexico is that they're trying to get to the US, especially if you're not making a lot of money, so that you can make a lot of money in the US and go back to Mexico. That's why there's a problem at the southern border in the US. Mexico has a problem of Mexicans going to the US. Now, on another border, Canada doesn't have this problem. Canadians are not trying to get into the US. It's not that doesn't happen on the other side because Canada is an amazing country. So they're not really trying to get over that border. So, my question to you, does Palestine have a problem with people trying to leave Palestine because it's so hard to get into Jordan and to leave to go to other countries? Is that a problem in Palestine? Or are Palestinians just wanting to stay there? I would imagine that the economy is not the best also because the region is so unstable that businesses don't really try to set up there. I would imagine that that's the case. The jobs are not very common. They don't pay a lot because there are not many businesses. I could be wrong, but that is what I'm guessing. Okay. So you're saying it's okay. People do go to Jordan to go to other countries. Are people Do many people want to do that or do they want to stay in Palestine? I'll tell you my perspective on this. I don't live there, but if I were in a place where the economy was not the best, I would try to leave because the economy gives you access to money and money gives you access to options. And if you have no options, that's That's what slavery feels like, not having options. And so then I would want to live a life where I have the most options possible. Right now, I have plenty of options. I could stay here. I could go back to Brazil. I could go back to Jamaica, go to US. I could travel to Africa next week. I have lots of options. My life is great. But then if you don't have options, I think that would suck. Maybe, maybe that's what's happening in Palestine. I don't know. But they can't go to the place where Israelites are. It's their opinion. I see. I see. Interesting. 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 Very interesting. I'm getting kind of sleepy on this live. I think I might end this soon. Wow, that is so pretty. You guys should you see. Look at this. This is what I'm looking at right now. Such a beautiful day. Isn't that beautiful, man? Oh my God. They closed the word where we go. Oh, so then right now you can't even leave the country. See? It's not having options. It's a scary thing. I know, man. That's why, if a part of your plan is to leave your country and go to a place where you have more options or you have better opportunities, then try to do that, right? Because that makes the most sense. Yeah, person trying to get into my life. Yes, it is a very cool place. I can't imagine that what life is like in North Korea to not have the option to do much. That would probably bother me. But then what can you do? All right, I'm gonna wrap this live up. Go back to the pool. Peace out, people. I will see you. Peace out. No, we'll talk another day. For sure. For sure.